That summer when we settled into the new neighborhood, it felt like stepping into a dream. The kind of community you'd spot in polished real estate ads, lawns cut to perfection, sidewalks framed with blossoms, families gliding by on bicycles, and an HOA board promising harmony. I believed I had finally discovered the safe haven my daughter Emily so badly needed. She was only 12, living with a disability that kept her in a wheelchair, yet her spirit shone even brighter than the summer sun. Than to give her the chance at a normal, joyful childhood. On that very first evening, Emily greeted the neighbors with her glowing smile and a cheerful wave. For a fleeting moment, I truly believed we had finally found home. But that illusion broke the instant my gaze met the woman across the street, Karen, the self-declared guardian of every trivial HOA rule. Her eyes were sharp, icy, carrying the weight of silent judgment, and when Emily lifted her hand to wave, Karen refused to return the gesture. Instead, she squinted, jotting something quickly into a small notebook she always carried. At first, I dismissed it, thinking perhaps she was just having an off day. But within a matter of days, the complaints began arriving. Emily's wheelchair ramp supposedly clashed with the neighborhood's appearance. Her laughter on the porch was too disruptive. Even the flowers Emily had planted herself were labeled a violation of HOA guidelines. Every note slipped under our door felt less like a reminder and more like a threat, as though Karen wasn't nitpicking, she was targeting us. Still, I tried to remain civil, hoping to avoid conflict, until one evening when I wheeled Emily down the block for fresh air and Karen emerged, arms folded, voice sharp as a blade. "That girl of yours is becoming a problem." My stomach sank, but before I could reply, "Sweetheart, this neighborhood doesn't have space for disturbances." The way Emily recoiled, her little hands clutching the arms of her chair, was the first moment I saw true fear in her eyes, and it shattered something deep inside me. From that night forward, everything changed. The neighborhood that once looked so picture-perfect began to feel stifling. It was as if Karen's gaze tracked our every step, her presence lingering over each laugh, each motion, every attempt at living normally. And though I hated to admit it, deep down I sensed this was only the start of something far darker, something that would test us in ways I couldn't yet fathom. The weeks that followed turned into an endless cycle of suffocating intimidation. I fought to hold myself together for Sophie's sake, yet the weight of Karen's, no, Linda's unceasing scrutiny pressed on us like a storm cloud that never lifted. Each morning, as I pulled open the blinds, I would find her standing at her notebook, and every afternoon, without exception, another HOA notice would be plastered to our door, accusing us of one violation or another, from the height of our mailbox to the so-called clutter of Sophie's medical supplies on the porch. Sophie, just 13 by then, would ask in her gentle voice why Linda despised us so much. I never had an answer, because how do you tell a child that some people don't see innocence, only weakness to exploit? What hurt most was that Linda didn't just come after me, she went after Sophie herself, making her feel unwelcome in her own home. At one HOA meeting, she brazenly stood and announced to 20 neighbors that Sophie's presence was a disturbance, and that the constant noise of her wheelchair was unacceptable for a community seeking peace. The silence that followed was unbearable. Not a single neighbor rose to defend us, not one voice dared to say, "That's cruel." And in that moment, I understood that Linda's power wasn't rooted in her title, but in the fear she planted in everyone else. Fear so heavy that good people chose silence instead of standing for what was right. Sophie, bless her, tried to keep smiling, squeezing my hand and whispering, "It's okay, Mom. I don't care what she thinks." But that night, as I walked past her bedroom, I caught the sound of muffled sobs, the way she buried her cries into her pillows, hoping I wouldn't notice. And it tore me apart, because my endless cruelty. Things worsened when Linda started tailing us. One evening, as Sophie and I strolled for some fresh air, I caught sight of Linda lingering behind, phone raised, snapping photos of us. When I confronted her, asking what she thought she was doing, she gave a sly smirk and replied, gathering evidence, "If you can't control her, I will." Those words struck me like ice water pouring down my spine, not only because of what she said, but because of